Thursday night, 7 o'clock, the Garnet Old show. No inside info, no contacts, no problems. So good to be with each and every one of you. My name is Ryan. You're going to notice no Vince tonight. Vince had a pre-scheduled event, and he wanted to support his family in the event. So all is good. Nothing bad. No bad stuff for Vince. But you got Big Papa East tonight. That's what you got. You also got homeless-looking Big Papa East. So not intentional. I'm probably going to shave tomorrow. I've just, you get one of those moods that you're just like, nah. You wake up, you just say, nah, I'm not going to shave. But anyways, everyone, welcome to the show. Please please subscribe, do all the fun stuff. If you want to become a YouTube member, go ahead and hit the join button. If you hit the join button, you can pick from a few different memberships, and that gives you some extra content every other week, as well as getting access to Vince and I directly via DMs on X. And if you're watching on X or Facebook, hop on over to YouTube and at least hit the like and subscribe button, and then you can hop back to your place of preference. But guys, man, a lot to talk about tonight. None of it very good. I want to say hello to my boy Douglas. What up, Douglas? It's good to see you. Thanks for joining the Garnet Old show today. Guys, because Vince is out tonight, what I really want to do is ask all of you to become part of the show. I really want to have you guys engage. I want to get a lot of your questions, comments, concerns. Man, you guys have to have a lot of concerns right now, because if you don't, I'm a little worried. Florida State's in a rough patch. Florida State, for the first time in a long time, feels hopeless. I'm just going to be honest. Even during the Willie Taggart era, as short as it was, there were some games, not most, but there were some games where I could go into it and say, you know what? I think Florida State could win this game. You play Wake, you play Duke, and NC State, and you would go into those games even with Willie Taggart, and you would say, hey, I think we got a shot. I don't feel that about any game on the rest of our schedule, including Charleston Southern. I don't. Guys, it seems hopeless. We had a great time at FSU Brewing Company this past weekend, watching the game and watching history come to an end when we finally lost to Duke. Man, what sucks is that it was such a beautiful night. Vince and I were sitting on a patio, hanging out with you all, doing our show live from FSU Brewing Company. It was a lot of fun. But man, watching the product, it's so hard, and it's always something different every week. There's some different form of suck that happens every week. And I feel like this week it was a little bit of everything. It was all things. We cannot get on a roll of any kind. We cannot make any drives that actually good things happen. It's impossible. I'm at the point now where there is no hope in my spirit, which is very, very sad, because generally, if you watch the show long enough, you have come to learn that I'm the very bright side, glass half full about the team. I generally over hype the team, whereas Vince is usually a little bit more pragmatic. I usually am the one that's like, you know what, give this coaching staff the benefit of the doubt, and Vince is usually the one with concerns. Guys, I've dropped all of it. There's nothing, and I kind of we'll get to. I want to bring up this comment here from Joshua. Thanks, by the way, Joshua, for watching tonight's show. Good to see you again. What do you think about Luke? All right, let's get right into the Duke game. Yeah, let's do a quick. We never did it. We did a halftime report from FSU Brewing Company for the Duke game, but we never did a post game, and there was a reason for that. They had to close up shop at FSU, so we were kind of not in a bad way. They were ready to close the restaurant. So But let's talk Duke. I thought the defense played mostly well. The defense played well. So we get to the quarterbacks, and you guys all know what happened. 3 straight turnovers, right? Brock interception, Brock fumble, Brock interception. One of those being a pick six. So you bring in Luke, right? Ready or not, you have to play him at that point. 3 straight turnovers, I think we would all agree was the right call. Although Luke seemed to be not processing information as quickly as all of us in an ideal situation would like him to do, he had to have gone into that game knowing that there's a possibility he could play, even if something happened with injuries or whatever. But clearly he wasn't processing the information at the rate in which to be successful, in a consistent basis. However, very impressed with his arm strength, which we've known about that. I mean, the guy has a cannon. He threw a beautiful pass that was dropped, of course, because that's what Florida State does, is on the regular drop every ball that's thrown their way. So yeah, he didn't impress me. He did not depress me, although the whole team did. But yeah, I think Luke performed pretty much what I would have expected most freshman quarterback to perform in that kind of situation, in which you're kind of thrust into action because of poor performance from the starting quarterback. So I actually agreed with Mike Norvell's call to put Brock Glenn back in the game after things had calmed down, give him a chance to, cool off. And I thought Brock at times, after that moment in which he caused 3 turnovers, big problem, because if you take those turnovers away, I'm not sure Duke wins. But that being said, Brock came back in, and I thought he played relatively well. Had some nice throws, also took some terrible sacks. Also, receivers dropped a ton of balls, but Brock was the main issue in the first half that caused Florida State to lose the game. That and poor pass protection. The pass protection ain't getting better, guys. Get that out of your head. The pass protection ain't getting better. In fact, that goes to kind of a larger talking point here, which I want to lead off the show with. How bad is Florida State? They're awful in every metric. They're terrible. The offense is, in my opinion, the worst in the FBS. And if you had told me that at the beginning of the year, I would have called you crazy. I would say that how is that even possible? Even if someone got hurt or a bunch of players got hurt, Mike Norvell would still scheme things open. And no, it's gone. We're terrible in every metric. There's not a single redeeming quality on offense except for special teams. The kicking game is solid, which is nice. But even there, man, it sucks. It wasn't the kicker's fault or anything. Bad snap, I get it. Bad hold, I get it. But of course that happened. Of course we missed that kick too. So we're that bad. So what does that mean? And this is where Vince and I get into some disagreement. We both agree that we're awful. We both agree that major changes need to be made. We disagree, and he'll probably correct me on a few items next week, but I believe his stance is major changes need to be made with select assistant coaches. I have a much more aggressive take. But first, I want to get to some of your comments about this exact situation. So, Douglas is more in the Vince realm. Keep Mike, Pat Papuchis, and then, fire a bunch of other people, right? That's very much the Vince Ciccarelli model and what he has kind of had an opinion about. Let's get to a few other ones here. I would say, Philip, good one. Only 7 teams in the Jesus. Yeah, haven't scored 21. Man, times are tough. Times are tough. But I'm going to go out on a limb, guys. I said it 3 weeks ago, and I think at the time, Vince, and it's probably in the right way, said, that's not going to happen. And to be fair, at that time 3 weeks ago, I said it's not going to happen, but hypothetically, and I laid out the scenario, if Mike Norvell goes 1-11 this year, can he, at the time I said, can he potentially be fired? Vince said, no, it wouldn't happen. It would take insanity. And I stated at the time, I absolutely think Mike Norvell could be fired. And I know, guys, that was 3 weeks ago, and here we are. We have no more wins than we did. We've looked worse at times than we did. And I'm here to tell you that I think it's more than likely than not. Now, I'm going to put a caveat here that Mike Norvell will be fired, maybe not this year, but next year. I put it over 50% chance that Mike Norvell will be fired by next year. Now, that's if, but the by next year caveat is if we win a game or two more this season. Now, Vince will give me his opinion next week. I'm going to guess he would say it's impossible, even if we went 1-11 still. Not going to happen this year. And I get it. I've heard the talking points, guys. I'm not oblivious. And the talking point is FSU can't afford to fire Mike Norvell. Think about this, but think about this logically. At a time in which you're trying to make it clear that you think you're too good to play in the ACC, that you believe that your program deserves to be amongst the elite and move to one of the other two major conferences in the Big Ten or the SEC, in a situation in which you have stadium upgrades happening and you want to sell and make sure those seats are sold out for next season, in a situation in which you open next year against Alabama, can you afford not to? If Mike goes 1-11, your brain might today tell you, no, they still wouldn't, they would give him the shot to turn it around. But you guys know what your brain tells you, writing something on paper, is much different for everyone, for us as fans, for the boosters, coaches, athletic directors, much different than feeling it. So when I say if Florida State were to go to 1-11, I don't think Mike Norvell would even make it to the final game against Florida. Because if Florida State has not won another game and we lose to Charleston Southern at home, I think, similar to the Sunday after Willie Taggart lost to Miami at home, I think you would see Florida State fire Mike Norvell. And even if you today are saying to yourself, I don't think it would happen, I just don't see it, I don't think the money's there, whatever your reasoning is, I get you guys. I get it. Would you blame Florida State if after a loss to Charleston Southern they fired Mike Norvell? Or would you be like, oh, that's surprising because I didn't think they had the money? The fact that you have to ask yourself that question, like, would you support Florida State in firing Mike Norvell versus I didn't think they had the money, tells you everything you need to know about the state of where Florida State is. So let's get to some of your questions and comments, because I do want to hear from you guys. And this is exactly where my mind goes. Douglas, a lot of people won't like to hear this. A lot of people, including me, at the beginning of the year. Douglas writes, prime, meaning Deion Sanders to FSU 2026, ? Guys, if you listen to my show at any point, and you listen to Vince talk, and you listen to us together, both of us have been, no way, don't want Deion, don't want Deion, don't want Deion. In fact, in our preseason coverage of this team and college football as a whole, I predicted that Deion Sanders would go down in flames this year, that it was going to be a dumpster fire. They'd be lucky if they won 2 to 3 games the whole season. That was my opinion, guys, at the beginning of the year. And that opinion was based on me thinking, seeing last year's Colorado team, believing some of the inside FSU, he's overrated. He can't do it. It's a dumpster fire. Guys, watch Colorado, man. Looks a whole lot better than Florida State's product. They don't have as much talent on the roster as Florida State. They sure do look better than Florida State each and every week. The games they've lost haven't been terrible games. They didn't get killed in their 2 losses. They've won a ton of close games with maybe even on its best day, 3 elite players on the entire roster. Would you guys take that right now? Let's say, Deion was the coach this year. I think there's some elite players on this team. I don't think they're being utilized. Do I think we'd win more than one game if Deion was running the show? I do. So you guys can laugh, and I would have laughed right alongside you guys a couple months ago. Don't go fooling around, Norvell. You get fired this year or next. Now, this year would take a total collapse. I think it's over 50% chance he would get fired this year if he didn't win another game. I think it's over 50% he would get fired next year if he goes 3 wins this year and 6 wins next year. Go fooling around. Shedeur goes to the league, which he's clearly going to do. What's keeping Deion at Colorado? It's not like he's really ever been attached at the hip to the program or anything like that. We know that about him, You tell me that look up, hey guys, do me a favor, look up his agent and who Mike Norvell's agent is. Just do me a favor and while you're just hanging out with me. You tell me that he's not feeding in the back channels that he might be interested again. And now he has Power 5 experience, winning at the Power 5 level. Before, it was kind of a joke because he was at some terrible team. Okay. Colorado looks better than Florida State. I think Colorado today, if Colorado played Florida State today, they put up 40 on us. So don't roll it out, Douglas. A good comment. Kenny, I want to address this. Norvell can't be fired. School can't afford it. I'm glad you brought this up. I want to address this specifically. How many times watching all of college football, and I've been watching it a long time. I know I'm not the old part of Garnet Old. Vince has got years on me. I'm 37, but I've been watching college football a good amount of time. I could tell you one thing I've learned: no amount of money is too much money if a program's looking horrible. If they've gone into the trash, man, schools find a way. Schools find a way. Boosters get frustrated, find a way. I'm telling you, there's money. Guys, if a school wants to do something desperately, there's money to do it. Some would have said 2 years ago, Florida State doesn't have the money or the resources to be able to sue the ACC to get out of the conference. Florida State clearly wanted it, and so they clearly did it and are still doing it. So the argument of they don't have the money, until you lose to Charleston Southern and haven't won a game more this year, and everyone is calling your office saying and demanding that if you don't fire that guy, you're going to stop donating to the school, all of a sudden the money becomes real easy. Okay? So don't rule it out. I like the positivity. Let me throw out one positive vibe. Vontae, welcome aboard, man. Good to see you. Go Noles. I wanted to bring that up just because, I don't always want to talk sadness, but right now it's hard not to. Philip, this is the pragmatic view. I don't think he would fire all the staff and keep his job. The most likely scenario to me this year is if he wins 2 to 3 more games this season, he would fire most of the assistant coaches and he would get 1 year to see how it goes. Now, good luck going out into the open market trying to sell assistant coaches, good ones, to come here at Florida State. And now you guys can, hey, I get it. It's Florida State. Why wouldn't you want? Do you think any assistant coach out there that's being contacted about potential openings at Florida State for assistant coaching roles thinks Florida State is a stable program that's not potentially on the verge of Mike Norvell, maybe even the athletic director being gone? And if that happens, they're probably gone too. Because when you're this bad, it's not 6-6 bad, it's 7-5 bad. This is awful. I never thought Florida State would be this bad. Ever. Didn't think it was possible. When you're this kind of suck, man, assistant coaches don't want to come to a building that's burning down already and risk losing their job and having to move their whole families and just to lose their job the next year. So good luck going to get assistant coaches. Brian Simmons 13 writes, Alfred didn't hire him. He inherited Mike. So the new AD, he can go get his own guy. I'm with you, man. I'm right there with you. Because I tell you what, Mike Norvell's seat is hot. Alfred's seat is warm. The more college football becomes like the NFL, the more similarities I start to see now. Guys, whenever the head coach is doing terrible, let's take the Jaguars, for instance, right now, right? And you tell me that that owner isn't looking to maybe make a change in the front office in front of the head coach to let a new guy come in and be the general manager of the team. So if Alfred's feeling warm and he doesn't think Mike Norvell is going to be able to turn it around and his job could be on the line later on in a few years, look how quick he tries to get that money that they can't find now to buy out Mike Norvell. Philip, I get you, man. He says, not on board with Prime. You can be not on board with him, but I'm telling you guys, let's talk Deion Sanders. Let's talk hypotheticals. I like to play this game sometimes. Vince, it drives Vince crazy because a lot of times it's not a playing topic and I just throw it out at him, right? Say, Mike, I'm going to play hypotheticals. Mike Norvell goes 1-11 this year, gets fired after Charleston Southern. I think we're all in agreement. Would you all agree, and let me know in the comments, that Deion would at least through the back channels express interest in the job? Can we agree on that? Even if you don't want him, don't think he'd be the right fit, don't think it'll happen, can we all agree that if Mike Norvell gets fired, Deion Sanders would 100% through back channels and his agent be interested in this job? Because he's already expressed interest in the past. So it's silly to think that he wouldn't do so now. And let's say at the end of this year, Colorado is an 8 or 9 win team, which is what I think they will be. And you got a whole lot of people. Think of all the recruits he brought to Colorado. So many recruits that he got to tell half the existing locker room to have a good day when he got there. Okay? That's at Colorado. God, no one wants to go play at Colorado. They wanted to go play with Deion. They didn't want to play at Colorado. If Deion wasn't there, none of those players would have gone to Colorado. People want to come to Florida State and play for this brand. But with Mike Norvell right now, they want to play for Mike Norvell right now? Not so sure. So the one thing, even for the people that can't stand Deion, say wouldn't want him here, no please, I don't want him. The one thing I think all of us can agree with, two things. He would want to come here. I think we all agree on that, I would hope. Second, boy, would he bring the recruits. If you combine, and he hasn't had an opportunity to do this yet, if you can combine people wanting to play for Deion combined with, I also want to play for a major program, guys, I'm telling you, if you don't like him, don't like his style, don't like his antics and all the diva-ness he brings to the table, you bring a lot of players. So thanks, Philip, for that comment. Joshua writes, Prime or Lane Kiffin? It's funny. Prime has, I think, the inside track if this was up for debate, because alumni could bring more recruits because of the name recognition. It seems like a more natural fit just if that were to happen. Lane Kiffin and Prime, though, are very similar personality types. Very much want stir the pot, very much want to poke others, right? Make kind of stab at their rivals and everything like that. Um, I actually last year around December, January, when there was word that Mike Norvell could end up going to Alabama, I was live on the show and talking that if Mike Norvell went to Alabama, I believe Lane Kiffin would come to Florida State. So that's an interesting comment. Let me know, everyone, in the comment section. I know a lot of you say no to Prime, but what about Lane Kiffin? Tell me what you think here. Kenny Terrell writes, Dion is amazing for recruiting. I don't care what anyone says. And years ago, Dion with FSU attached is a great for recruiting. I'm right there with you. A lot of you guys out there, if you are no to Dion people, you can agree he's a good recruiter and can bring people here. You can think nothing else of him and say, yeah, he can do that. Well, if you can do that, you don't think there's assistant coaches that would want to come here and be offensive coordinator at an elite level, and a defensive coordinator at an elite level? A lot of people, when you combine, again, his Prime's recruiting ability and stardom with Florida State being a destination school, a lot of assistant coaches that wouldn't necessarily go to Colorado because they're like, yeah, I'm glad Prime got that job, but it's Colorado at the end of the day, and how long will Dion be there? That's always the conversation, right? How long is Dion going to be there anyways before he gets bored or wants to go somewhere else? I'm pretty sure that if Deion Sanders, first of all, came to Florida State, he'd want to stay put because it just makes sense. You know, an alumni, no matter what he said in the past, it's just his job. He's an entertainer. He's just trying to get articles written about him. But you bring that recruiting prowess here, Tallahassee, combined with elite head assistant coaches, you could win. He would be what we hoped Willie Taggart would be. We hoped Willie Taggart was going to be an elite recruiter, not a great coach, but man, if he gets the right hires around him, the problem is none of the guys he wanted to bring with him actually came with him. Instead, they stayed in Oregon, right? So that's where that debacle started going downhill real quick. But thanks for writing in, Kenny. Vontae B writes, Prime has done nothing with high school recruiting at Colorado. Guys, he doesn't have to anymore. In the modern era of the transfer portal, you don't have to. If you're Deion Sanders, you can do okay with high school recruiting. Yeah. Has Mike Norvell done anything with Vontae? Has Mike Norvell done anything with high school recruiting? Do you think Deion could do equal to what Mike Norvell has done with high school recruiting? He's done incredible things for it being Colorado in the transfer portal. He just has. Let's see. Let's get to someone else. Yeah, Joshua. This is a good point. Joshua Geiger writes, they will find the money if he goes 111. Yep. I'm right there with you, man. I think a lot of experts around the program, coverage wise, on paper, it's real easy to say it's impossible. You feel it after Charleston Southern. Let's say Charleston Southern beats you 28-10, which, by the way, I don't think is out of the realm of possibility anymore. You're telling me that a bunch of you in the chat right now, they're saying it's impossible, wouldn't be like, no, this is ridiculous. You got to fire him. That's impossible that they lost that game. Okay. When things happen, it feels different than written on a paper. I'm telling you guys right now. All right, let's get to Lori. Lori writes, that's assuming that FSU would give Deion the same type of autonomy he has at Colorado. I'm pretty sure they would let him hire his own coaches. And most head coaches who get hired are allowed to pick their assistant coaches and are given a budget and everything. And they would probably just let Deion do what Deion does, which is be the mouthpiece and recruit at an elite level to get people to come to Tallahassee. And you are right, Douglas. Adam Pac-Man Jones, Pac-Man's been saying it for years. Like I think 2 or 3 years that like Deion's going to end up at Florida State, and he's already put money down. Yep. And Douglas, good point as well, writes that I only want Prime for talent acquisition. Can you imagine Prime and Patrick Sartain on the same staff? Now, I don't think Patrick Sartain would remain on staff if any head coaching changes happen. I think he's too talented. I think he would end up in another job before we made the hire. Florida Man. I love the name, Florida Man. I'd say Prime, and I'm almost 70. They see. I agree, man. I'm telling you, this is going to get very interesting very quick, guys. All right, so let's talk the Miami game. It's a sad statement. So let's transition comments, guys. Start talking about Miami. It's a really sad statement on the program that we're in the Miami week. I'm going to take this a little different angle than some of the other shows. Great shows. I listen to them all. By the way, I'm going to give some encouraging words for all of you out there because we have questions a couple times about our operation and working with others and all that fun stuff. So I actually want to give you guys some information and some helpful things that might help you in your own journey. But first, the Miami week. Have you ever felt less like, oh, I almost forgot there was even a game Saturday. I was making plans at work just to like see other people and get stuff done around the house and everything. And someone asked me, hey, what you doing Saturday? And the first 5 minutes, I was like, oh, nothing. And kind of talking about our weekend. And then I went, oh, wait, it's Florida State, Miami. Forgot about that. And it was kind of like, ugh. Because as an old fan, I'm going to watch. It's not like I'm going to be like, I'm boycotting the team. I'm not that guy. I'd watch us lose by 60 to anyone. Okay. I'm a fan, man. That's what I do. I try to watch the game and analyze it, and we do a show for it. So we have to anyways, right? But I don't care. I feel nothing. I'm numb, which is so fast because last year, you know, everyone had that heartfelt moment together when we won the ACC title and then the snub happened. We felt like we were together and we're going to show the world, screw everyone else, how quickly it can come tumbling down around you. It reminds you that in college football, things can change overnight, man. Everything can change overnight, which is why I tell the story of when Florida State played in the 2013 national championship, a big house party, like a lot of you I'm sure did. And I remember telling my wife in the first quarter of that game, I'm going to make sure I enjoy, if we win this game, I want to make sure I enjoy every moment of this. Like, focus on enjoying the moment and not like getting ahead of myself because I know it's rare to get here unless you're, Alabama or Georgia. I know it's rare. So I want to make sure, like, I want to focus on everything about tonight and enjoying every single second. I stayed up till 3 a.m. that night watching the replay after replay. Back in the day, you would stay up and watch college football final again and again on replay on ESPN. And I did that. And the reason I did that is because, the old part, Vince, of the show, hey, man, he saw 10, 11, 12 wins. No problem. Year after year after year after year, national championships, year after year after year, going at least to the title game. I was 13 years old in the year 2000 when we won that 1999 national championship in January of 2000. I was 13. I was born in 87. So I thought, because my dad was a Florida State graduate and I've been watching it with him growing up, let the good times roll, baby. This is never coming to an end. No one can beat us. We're the Noles. And then as I became a middle schooler, high schooler, and you're like, oh, it's not easy and it can be gone very quickly. We suck. We didn't suck as bad as we suck this year, for sure. Even Bobby Bowden in his final years could manage 6 wins, right? But we were bad. So when we finally got to that crescendo of the national title game, I said, remember every second, squeeze it out. And that's even why, despite the frustrations, 2014 was so special because it was like impossible. How do we come back and game after game after game after game to win those games? It was fun, man. It was a fun ride. And then it all falls apart. And then you get excited about Willie and it all falls apart. And you really get excited about Mike. We just went undefeated, for goodness sake, and now it all falls apart. So my recommendation, all of you out there who maybe are on the younger side, haven't seen the roller coaster. I know we have a good variety of audience, young, middle-aged, older. But you young, and when you are good, after you experience this year, you'll remember, enjoy it even more. Enjoy every second because it can be over so quick. So quick. So I feel nothing about this game. I'm numb to it. I'll go into that game literally. I'll be playing on my phone probably half the game because I already know the result. This is the glass half full guy on the show saying, no, we're going to lose. There's no chance. I'd say almost impossible that we win. It's college football. Anything can happen. I get you. It happens all the time. But guys, use your eyes. Cam Ward scoring touchdowns. We can't even move the ball against Duke. Okay. We're going to get smoked. We're going to get smoked. And I'm going to give my prediction today without Vince. Vince will probably post his prediction on X in the next couple days. But I'm going to be honest with you. 55-10, Miami. Game's over by halftime. That's how bad I think it's going to be. Buckle up, guys. I'm telling you. Not even going to be close. Not even competitive. Miami's pissed. They've lost to us 2 years in a row. More than that over time, right? You don't think they want to kick our butts, man? They're going to come into that game and they're going to put it up on us. So, yeah, Florida State, there are no keys to the game. Normally I would go through this part of the show and, hey, here's how you win. Here, if we were to win, here's what it would look like. Keys to the game, players of the game. It would have to take a mass flu on the Miami sidelines where everyone's sick. Cam Ward can't even get out of bed. He's stuck on the toilet. And we would still have to play better than we have all year to win. That's how bad it is, guys. We're not going to win this game. So let's get to some of your predictions. I like this, Kenny. Oh, to be 28 again, man. I'm about 10 years your senior. And I will say this, being that you're 28, you've kind of Jimbo, Willie, Mike, so you get it. You're younger, but you have experienced it. Douglas, 45-3. Yeah, I could see it. Yep. Raj, our Miami fan who watches the show every week. I appreciate you, Raj. Raj, it was great hanging out with you and seeing you at Fishweir. Had a lot of fun with you. I'm so glad you got the chance to come out. Miami fans are very pissed. They're ready to beat that. You know what, man? They are ready. So buckle up, guys. We're going to get smoked. And I'll make you guys a promise. If we don't get smoked, if in the 1% chance that remains that we pull it out, here's what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to come on live directly after the game. And I will do a shot for every touchdown we scored. And we'll make a game of it. I'll get loaded with you guys live on the air. Absolutely loaded. I'll toast to the, oh my God, I can't believe we beat them. I'm telling you, I will get smashed. And I'd never done that on the air. So it'll be entertaining, to say the least. If we lose, though, we'll do the post game the next day. Because it won't matter. Because you guys won't care and you're ready to go to bed. Most of you by halftime would already be in bed because it's so boring. Because we're already getting smoked. So how about that? I'll get loaded live on a Garnet Old show live. Post-game show if we win the game. And maybe Vince will be able to join and we'll get loaded together. Now, Florida man, I disagree with you on this one. I hope Norvell gets fired right after the Miami game like Taggart. I don't think it would happen here because there's too much suck left to do. There's Charleston Southern is the game. The only way I see Mike Norvell getting fired this year is if you go out and lose to Charleston Southern at home. Beyond that, I think he'll get fired next year. Because I'm not lying. I think he's done. There's a whole lot of Jordan Travis bailing us out the last 2 years that you go back and really think about it and say, oh, okay. Jordan Travis, Keon Coleman, Johnny Wilson seem to bail us out a whole lot. How many points do you guys think we scored last year? How many games did we win last year without Keon Coleman on the roster? Just ask yourself that. How many games do we win? We definitely won one against Clemson because he made the winning. Keon, man, look at him. He's playing. Look at him playing for Buffalo right now. I didn't even think he'd be that good in the NFL. And Aaron Rodgers, if you keep screwing around, we're going to see Jordan Travis real quick. Right? So yeah, you screw around, Norvell could get fired. I'm telling you guys. I'm telling you. Now, one other thing I want to talk about, the last topic of the night before I wrap up here, that makes my heart happy. It's Florida State related, adjacent, not directly. But let's all get excited and support our boy, Jameis Winston, who's about to take the field in Cleveland as the starting quarterback probably the rest of the season, barring injury. Now, he's playing for the Browns, but hey, I've been hoping that Jameis Winston got a chance to be a starting quarterback again in the NFL. And if he goes out and has a solid year, someone's either Cleveland will re-sign him or someone will re-sign him, sign him up. I'm excited. Jameis Winston, starting quarterback. Now he plays against Baltimore, I think, this week. So that's a tough ask, the very first game that you're starting. But can we all be excited? J.B. Wilson, come on, man. Famous Jameis. Let's go. I'm excited for the man. I think he deserves it. It's so funny how it's changed because when he was a starter, everyone thought he was a joke and his persona and the eat the W. I don't know if it's just him by himself, and I think he and his persona have a lot to do with it. But I almost wonder if he has a good PR company and marketing team, because if you look at the turnaround of the perception of Jameis Winston among general NFL fans in the last 3 years compared to the previous 6, people love Jameis now. He's gone on the podcast. They think he's funny. He's a good team guy. They love his speeches. Man, I've a long time since I've seen like a PR image turn around the likes of Jameis Winston in the NFL, just from the fans' perspective. So I actually think a lot of people are gonna be rooting for Jameis, not just Florida State fans and not just Cleveland fans, but I think a lot of fans around the country will like to see Jameis Winston do well, because I think they found out, hey, turns out he's a pretty fun and good guy to watch. So let's root for my man, Jameis Winston. Good luck. I hope you do well. All right, guys, I'm going to call it a show, but I promise you this. Vince will be back on the Garnet Old Show, 7 o'clock Eastern Time next week. However, Vince and me will both be on here this weekend. We'll go live in the afternoon. We'll announce the time on X by end of day tomorrow. We'll do our pregame, whatever that will look like for the Miami game. We'll probably just have some fun while we're pre-gaming, because, what else is there to talk about? And again, I promise you, each and every one of you, we'll do a halftime show. I'll do a halftime report because I'm just going to be at home. I have all my equipment. But if we win, I'm going to get blasted on the air. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I hope Vince does it with me. He might already be there by the time if we were winning. But let's have a good night and wish for the best, because I would like to see that myself. I would like to go back and watch the footage of me doing that. So let's have a good night, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I tried to do as much as I could for all of you in the show tonight. Thanks for being such a big part of the Garnet Old Show. The comments were awesome tonight. It's a lot of fun. Vince, I can't wait to see you again, man. Brother, we're gonna get through this, man. We're gonna watch the Miami game. We're gonna get through it. On behalf of Vince Ciccarelli and myself, send Chiefs all the damn time. And even though we suck, no matter what, I still say the same thing. Screw ESPN eternally, and go Noles. Be well, everyone. Have a good weekend.